guys, my name is Trinh and today I'm here to do a book review and discussion for The Last Book of the White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. If you don't know, I am a huge fan of the Shadow Haunted Chronicles. I have done basically book review and discussion for all of the books in the series. I'll have the playlist down in the description box below, and I do want to say that I read this book with my parapetite Sandy from Sandy Reads a Lot. And also I want to say thank you to Simon Schuster for sending the package to my place. It was so cool because I requested an arc and they literally sent me the final copy of The Last Book of the White. I do want to say that this is the second book of a trilogy. I'll give you like a basic rundown. Basically, this book follows Magnus and Alec. Their parents in this book, they have a son named Max. It's just Magnus and Alec and the gang from TMI. So Clary, Chase, Simon, and Isabel. Everyone is going to Shanghai. They're like trying to defeat the villain. That's all I can say, but holy shit, it's just so nice to see the people, oh my god, the characters from the More Instrument series. I do want to say that there are some trigger warnings for this book: violence, stabbing, and mention of suicide. So I love the characters. I feel like Magnus and Alec definitely steal the show. Obviously this series is literally about Magnus and Alec. I love that they're parents in this book. I love that they really care about their child. I love that they love each other so much and they're very secure in their relationship. And now when it comes to the disappointing things, in this book we have two villains. One we already know from the first book. The second one is a Prince of Hell. The one from the previous book, she tries so hard to be a villain. And then we have the Prince of Hell in this book. Basically, we're being told that he's scary and he's powerful and he can definitely ruin the world. But in this book, literally, I couldn't take him seriously because he's not threatening. That's the thing. He is described as someone who talks like a talk show host. And I literally was laughing so hard because that is so accurate. Like, that's what I mean. He's not threatening. I enjoy this book. I definitely prefer this book over the first book, but my rating is 3.5 out of 5 stars because of the villains and my issue with that storyline, because oh my god, I was so annoyed. At the end, I was just like, you know what? I don't care about this anymore. I care about the main characters and how amazing they are. I think that's about it for my review. So if you have read this book, stay so we can talk about everything that happened in this book. But if you have not read this book, then of course read this book, come back, and we can just discuss what happened in The Last Book of the White. If you have not read this book, then please leave, okay? Goodbye. I'm going to go into all of the spoilery things that happened in this book. So let's talk about Ragnar. If you have read the epilogue of the first book, The Rescuers of Magic, you know that Ragnar is alive. I really want to point this out because I feel so fucking stupid when I was reading this book, and I talked to Sandy about this. For the longest time, I have always assumed that Magnus and Ragnar are the same age. They're not. Ragnar is much older than Magnus. The thing is, I don't know how old he is. I know that Magnus is 400 years old. Ragnar, I don't know, but I do know that he's definitely older than Magnus because there's a flashback where Magnus is like pretty young. He's in the Silent City and Ragnar visits him, and basically they're like, you know what, I'll help you and stuff. Yeah, you get it. The whole time I was just like, wait a fucking minute. Here's the thing. Throughout this entire book, Magnus has said multiple times that Ragnar is like his oldest friend and his mentor. I don't know why I didn't comprehend that shit until we get to the flashback, and I'm just like, wait a minute, Magnus is like young in this scene and Ragnar is like an adult and he's basically offering Magnus help. That's when it hits me that Ragnar is older. It's actually like funny now, but it took me like forever to actually realize that. I feel so dumb. But here's the thing. This is like the thing that I have to say regarding Ragnar, is that I'm just so glad that we know a lot about him, because regarding like the main books, we barely see Ragnar. We were told that he died in City of Glass, and then of course it was revealed that he's alive in Queen of Air and Darkness. And then in the epilogue of The Rescuers of Magic, it's like, oh okay, so he's alive. It's just nice to actually see him in this book. Throughout the entire story, you can literally tell that Magnus really cares about Ragnar, because let's talk about the scene where Magnus uses the sword to unthorn Ragnar, because by that time Ragnar has like 3 thorns. Instead of like saving the world and himself, he saves his friend. And then we have the scene where Magnus tells Ragnar that Raphael, the vampire, has died in City of Heavenly Fire. And I kid you not, I was crying during this conversation because I forgot that Ragnar doesn't know that Raphael has died 3 years ago. I believe this takes place in 2010. City of Heavenly Fire takes place in 2007. Ragnar just doesn't know about it because he's been captured for like a long time. You can tell that he's like devastated. Ragnar was like friends with Raphael. They actually like each other. Not Not like that, not like romantically, but like they're friends and everything. Oh man, that really hurt. You don't understand, like I was fucking crying. Like I said, the two main villains in this book are Samuel and Shinyan. Let's talk about how Magnus was stabbed twice. So the first time, I literally could not believe what I was reading. It was in the first chapter and Shinyan just put the sword, or like, was it a sword? The thorn right into Magnus' chest. The second time it happened, I was kind of mad at both parties because Shinyan is like doing shit like this, but Magnus was like literally sitting next to her being really nice. I know that he puts like wards around himself, but it backfired because Shinyan was able to like thorn him again. And now let's talk about Samuel. Like I said, he is supposed to be a big threat. We have been told numerous of times that he's powerful. I said I was so underwhelmed, and I was really let down regarding his character and how he is portrayed in this book. I'm not scared of him. I'm literally not scared of him, okay? So he's a goofball. We're being told that he's scary, but not shown. There's only one scene where he's actually scary. That's when he was torturing Simon. I do want to talk about this. So I remember being like, why is he torturing Simon? And then I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, is it because Simon defeated Lilith? And I was right, okay? When I turned the next page, I was right. And then of course we have to talk about the fact that the reason why we were able to find Simon is because of Shinyan. She is literally so annoyed at her boss that she literally goes to the gang and was like, you know what, I know that you're looking for Simon, I know where he is, I need you to take Simon away from Samuel because he is so distracted. I need him to focus on the plan to ruin the world. That's how bad of a villain he is. He is so distracted about this thing that his second in command is so fed up, and she's like helping our main characters take Simon away from him so he can focus on the plan to ruin the world. I laugh. It sounds so fucking ridiculous, but like that's how it is. He is just so distracted about so many things in this book, and he's not threatening. I think it's the fact that our main characters will be fine because we see them in TDA, and guess what? They're fine. So let's quickly talk about Simon. I was so surprised when we learned that he's not okay in this book, because I believe this takes place like a few months after Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. If you don't remember, basically during the Ascension, his best friend George dies. And then throughout this book, I don't know, he's just not as funny as I remember him to be. You know, in TMI he was hilarious, but in this book Simon is not really funny, and you know, it makes sense. He's grieving and then he gets taken away and I was like, oh my god. I think the idea of being a shadow hunter is really scaring him now. There's a good chance you will die. I'm happy that he has Isabel, and I think he's okay at the end. It's good to like talk about this because there's a scene where he talks about his frustration regarding being a shadow hunter. Let's talk about how the gang goes to Shanghai. That's so cool. Oh my god, I was literally so happy. And then of course we meet a shadow hunter named Tian. And then Jem is at the house. I remember Magnus saying the K house. I think that's how you say it. K-E-K? Is it K? I don't know. I didn't listen to the audiobook, so I don't know how it's being pronounced. But basically, we go to the house. When I heard the last name, I was like, wait a fucking minute. Jem, his other name is K. Let me tell you what happened. I was reading on my bed when I saw Magnus ask Jem, because he's like, wait, is that Jem right there? I literally closed the book and walked around my room for like 5 minutes. I was like losing my shit because I love Jim Carstairs so much. So I was like, oh my god, let me calm down. Like that's how excited I was. And then of course we meet Tian's girlfriend, Chin Feng. She's a phoenix. She's a fairy. In this book, Clary talks about the cold piece and how it's really unfair because the Silly Queen and her court support Sebastian. But that is a small fraction if you compare it to the fairy population. And it's not fair that all of the fairies in this world are punished because of the Silly Court, you know? In this book, Tian has to keep his relationship with his fairy girlfriend a secret because she's a fairy and he can get in trouble. Okay, let's talk about Tian and how this man flip-flop back and forth. I'm not gonna lie, I suspect that he's gonna be the bad guy, and I was right, but at the same time it's revealed that he's actually the good guy, but he was blackmailed and he was a spy in a way. And now the Hell Dimension. I cannot believe I forgot to write about this in my notes. I was kind of fed up because we have seen this before. This is the third time that we're going to a Hell Dimension in the Shadowhunter Chronicles. The first time is City of Hell and Fire, and then the second time that we see this is Queen of Air and Darkness. And then in this book, our characters are going to DU. Is that how you say it? I don't know. But that's where Samuel is, and that is another Hell Dimension. And I was just like, why are we doing this again? This is the third time. It's getting repetitive. So I was not a big fan of it because we have seen this before. Let's talk about that scene at the end. Alex stabs himself with the thorn. Shinyan becomes a greater demon. I said, so Magnus is okay because Alex stabs himself? Question mark, question mark. And I kid you not, it's been 2 weeks and I still don't know what the hell happened. During that scene, I was just trying to like imagine everything, but sometimes it's hard because it's just so ridiculous. So what I have remembered is that Alex stabs himself with the thorn. Something happened. I remember some kind of magic power zapped out of someone. I don't remember who. But Shinyan uses that shit to become a greater demon. So she's basically like, fuck you Samuel, you're so incompetent that I'm gonna do this shit myself. Samuel is like, okay, bye. And then everyone escapes, everyone is fine. So that's what I mean. I know for a fact everyone is gonna be fine at the end because we see them later. So the epilogue. It's just Samuel talking to the other Princess of Hell. We have Belial, Leviathan, Belphegor, Azazel. What the fuck is this? But the last line. Yes, I want to talk about Lucifer. That's cool. When I saw that, I was like, wait a fucking minute. Are we gonna see Lucifer in the 3rd book? I hope so. I think we are. Everyone knows Lucifer. Everyone knows his story too, so Google that shit if you're not familiar. If we see him in the 3rd book and he's actually scary and threatening, oh my god, that's gonna be really cool. Okay, I'm very excited now for the 3rd book because yes, I'm excited because the title is The Black Volume of the Dead. If you're familiar with TDA, you know about the Black Volume of the Dead. Last but not least, we have the wedding. It's actually really wholesome. Basically, Magnus throws a wedding for Jem and Tessa in their dreams, and everyone is there. Everyone that we know in the Shadowhunter Chronicles is there. I cried when Will was in the story. Tessa and Jem, I think they were talking to Will. Like we see like a silhouette. I cry. Anytime Will is mentioned, I just cry. It's that easy for me. Like that's how much I care about TID and the characters. I think that's about it for this book. My biggest complaint is the villains, okay? Like I'm not scared at all. But the good things, oh my god, the gang, the characters, going to Shanghai. I cannot wait to read the 3rd book. I really hope we're gonna see Lucifer. That's basically it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.